the Amhara region of Ethiopia has been engulfed in a protracted and increasingly intense conflict between Oromo ENDF, Ethiopian National Defense Force, and Amhara Fano forces. This conflict has led to widespread violence, displacement, and significant changes in territorial control. In this comprehensive report, we will provide an in-depth analysis of the latest developments from various fronts in the Amhara region, shedding light on the evolving dynamics of this conflict. In Finot Salam, specifically in the areas of Fern and Gavecha located in Gojam, intense fighting has erupted between Fano forces and Amhara riot police. The Fano forces have managed to capture not only these areas, but also their leaders. What is particularly concerning is the use of drones by the Oromo NDF in and around the city, resulting in reported civilian property losses. Dembeka, also situated in Gojam, remains a hotspot of conflict between Oromo ANDF and Amhara Fano forces. Fano forces had initially taken control of Dembeka after a fierce battle with Oromo ENDF forces approximately a week ago. However, recent reports suggest that fighting has resumed in and around Dembeka, indicating the precarious nature of territorial control in this region. The conflict has also spread to Raba, Aya Marafia, and Debre Marcos, all located in Gojam. Oromo ENDF soldiers are actively attempting to retake control of Debre Marcos, which is currently held by Amhara Fano forces. This highlights the fluidity of territorial control in the region, with fierce fighting persisting. In Gonda, specifically in Kema Dingay and Este, intense fighting continues between ENDF and Fano forces. The conflict in these areas shows no signs of abating, further exacerbating the overall instability in the region. Contrary to the prevailing trend, Oromo ENDF forces managed to defeat Amhara Fano forces in Delji, Gonda, and Arerti, northern Shua. These areas are now under the control of Oromo ENDF forces, marking a significant shift in territorial control. In Gojam, specifically in Feresbet and Emmanuel, Amhara Fano forces emerged victorious in a heavy battle against Oromo ENDF forces. As a result, Feresbet and Emmanuel are now firmly under the control of Amhara Fano forces, with Fano soldiers present in these areas. Following intense fighting between Amhara Fano and Oromo ENDF forces, Fano forces have successfully taken control of several towns. These include Mida, Tegora, Demdem, and Ankoba, signifying a significant shift in territorial control in the region. In northern Shua, specifically in Auragodana and Minjar, there have been reports of intense fighting. Oromo NDF and Oromo regional forces have deployed mortars, artillery, and Zu-23 guns against Fano forces, further escalating the violence. The conflict has also extended to Tamabia, Debrecina, and Agambia in Salayesh, northern Shua. Fano forces have captured Amhara riot police and their leaders, underscoring their growing influence in the region. The ongoing conflict in the Amhara region between Oromo ENDF and Amhara Fano forces continues to escalate, with shifting territorial control and intense fighting across multiple fronts. The use of drones, heavy weaponry, and the capture of key figures further highlight the complexity and severity of the situation. The humanitarian toll of this conflict is profound, with civilians bearing the brunt of the violence and property losses. The international community must closely monitor these developments and explore diplomatic avenues to bring an end to this devastating conflict and facilitate lasting peace in the region. The conflict in the Amhara region of Ethiopia has taken a devastating turn as the Oromia Special Forces, backed by the Ethiopian National Defense Force, ENDF, have gained control of Auragodana town. However, rather than bringing stability, their presence has led to disturbing reports of violence against civilians, large-scale looting, and the destruction of homes. This article delves into the unfolding humanitarian crisis in Aura Godana and its profound implications for the local population. Aura Godana, a town located in the Amhara region, recently fell under the control of the Oromia Special Forces, supported by the ENDF. While the capture of the town marked a significant shift in territorial control, it was swiftly followed by a series of alarming events. One of the most troubling aspects of the situation in Aura Godana is the reported targeting and killing of civilians. Witnesses on the ground have recounted harrowing stories of violence against innocent residents. Men, women, and children have allegedly become victims of the ongoing conflict, with their lives hanging in the balance. In addition to the loss of human life, there have been widespread reports of large-scale looting in Aura Godana. It appears that the town's capture has provided an opportunity for armed groups to engage in pillaging and theft. Local businesses, homes, and public institutions have all fallen victim to this rampant looting, exacerbating the already dire circumstances faced by the population. Another distressing aspect of the situation is the deliberate destruction of homes. Witnesses have reported that houses have been set ablaze, leaving many families homeless and without shelter. This destruction not only threatens the immediate safety and well-being of residents, but also raises concerns about the long-term impact on the community's ability to rebuild and recover. As a result of the violence and instability in Aura Godana, the majority of the town's residents have been forced to flee. This mass displacement is a desperate response to the danger and uncertainty that now define life in the town. Families have been separated and communities have been torn apart as individuals seek safety and refuge elsewhere. The situation in Aura Godana presents an urgent humanitarian crisis that requires immediate attention. Humanitarian organizations operating in the region are faced with the daunting task of providing aid and assistance to those affected by the conflict. This includes offering medical care to the injured, providing shelter to the displaced, and ensuring access to basic necessities such as food and clean water. The escalating humanitarian crisis in Aura Godana underscores the pressing need for international intervention. The international community must step in to facilitate a peaceful resolution to the conflict and ensure the protection of civilians. Diplomatic efforts should be intensified to bring all parties to the negotiating table and establish a ceasefire that can halt the violence and pave the way for a comprehensive solution. The capture of Aura Godana by the Oromia Special Forces, backed by the ENDF, has unleashed a humanitarian catastrophe in the Amhara region. Reports of civilian killings, large-scale looting, and the burning of houses paint a grim picture of the situation on the ground. The mass displacement of residents further compounds the crisis. Urgent action is needed to provide relief to those affected and to seek a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The international community must unite in its efforts to end the suffering of the people of Aura Godana and restore stability to the region.